You're talking about two title challengers with £100 million midfielders in their midst. I mean, how much of today will go down to these two midfielders, and who will have a better game?
I think it's going to come down to, look, you know, the European game is going to be important for both sides, and see how you're going to bounce back, because sometimes you peak once a week, now they got to peak twice. And I think that's going to be the key thing. Chelsea played Barcelona with high energy. Arsenal, they cannot do that because Arsenal is used to that. So now it's going to be to a tactical move. Who is very good in transition and making sure you win the second ball.
But Moises Caicedo versus Declan Rice is that midfield battle that we're in for here today. Look, different profiles of midfielder, let's put it that way. But who's actually the better midfielder in your opinion?
Oh, you asked me that? My heart is blue, his heart is red. So, you know what I'm going to say. Look, if I was playing, my time I was playing, Caicedo, you know, he wins balls, he battles, I can count on him, he closes the inside for me, we will need him to do that today, because, you know, Saka, if he goes in, you need someone to cover for you, so in that scale, yes, but Rice, come on, if you don't mention him, you're just great, you don't like football.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not going to be biased in any way whatsoever.
No, honestly. So I played with Eddie Newton, who actually, people talk about the Makelele role. Eddie Newton was pre-Makelele. It should be talking about the Eddie Newton role. But I think Moises Caicedo is the better number 6 out the two. But I think Rice is the more complete player because he can play further forwards. He can get those driving runs in. But Moises Caicedo now is not just breaking up play, the assist to the assist, but he's starting to score goals as well. But Declan Rice actually does that, and with his set pieces on top of it, I think both are sensational players. I really do. I'd be quite happy with second pick, to be honest with you, Michelle. I'd take second pick.
Well, when you look at some of their numbers, really, David, I mean, clearly, as you mentioned, they are different profiles of player. Caicedo, the better ball winner. Declan Rice, maybe better overall. But it's so funny because at Brighton, Caicedo started as an 8, and then Rice started as a bit more of a 6 when he came to Arsenal. It's interesting how their play has evolved.
Caicedo is an unbelievable player. What a player! If you've got him in your team, you're so happy. He's breaking up plays, getting on it. But Declan Rice is turning into Mr. Arsenal, and I think he's gone up another level this year. He's unbelievable. He, sort of springing from the midfield, getting goals, assisting. His set plays are unbelievable, and he's the player in that Arsenal team that really drives on. He's got the personality. Go on, the Declan Rice.
I knew he was going to say that. I was just waiting for that moment. So let it come.
Well, since you like Moises Caicedo, I'll let you talk through all of the highlights that we compiled here today. What do you like about him when you watch these clips?
You know, the thing is, like, you know, I always look for a player that can set the tone. That guy there, he could do that at his team. That's why we know each other well. You know, he was good at it, but Caicedo is good at it too. He sets the tone. He knows exactly, you know, what the team needs. Sometimes as a team, you want to win the ball as quick as you can, win it back. And then, if you got a rocket in your shoe, you understand it always helps. And he has that too. So that's why I also give him the credit for he done it a couple of times already, and he keeps on doing it. You know, this is a big game. Derbies are always special because you cannot say that a team is going to win a derby that has the best season so far, because a derby is the day will talk for itself. So both teams, they know that, and they just have to deliver. And I hope one team does it. It's the one that's celebrating now.
No bias at all, absolutely no bias from you. But on Declan Rice, on the other opinion then, I mean, you're talking about season on season how his game has developed. He's going further forward now in a lot of times this season. We're going to look at some of his highlights here then, David. I mean, how much he has grown since he left West Ham.
He has. He's moved. He's gone on to a different level. Certainly over the last year. I think he sort of understands Arsenal Football Club now. He's sort of setting the tone and the tempo for the whole team, and the rest of the players will react to a player like that. He's always given his 100%. He's always so honest in his play, and his deliveries are exceptional. But he's turning into Mr. Arsenal, and you can see what he can do for the team, for the club, and to have a player like that in your team that's just always honest, giving 100% every game, he's unbelievable. He's got a good character as well.
Do you think they can challenge Rodri as the best midfielder in the league?
Absolutely. Look, I think the biggest compliment I can give both of those, you've got Cole Palmer at Chelsea, you've got Bukayo Saka at Arsenal, but actually I think they're the most important players for the club. We've seen Cole Palmer being out and how good Chelsea could be with him in the side, but they've actually not missed him because they've still been winning games. So Caicedo is the heartbeat of the side. He's able to get Chelsea going, help them out defensively, get them starting attacking wise. The same with Declan Rice as well. So I mean, look, let's not forget Declan Rice started here at Stamford Bridge before he went
That's
in
true.
the youth team.
That's
Trying
true.
to claim him as a Chelsea player, aren't you? Look.
Look, I'm West Ham as well, you know. So, but what I would say is, he's one of those players. Just when you think he can't get even better, he does. He's getting better season on season on season, and it bodes well not just for us.
But is that what makes the difference in this Arsenal side? When you look at their squad depth here that we have here, every single position has at least 2 or 3 high quality players. This is the difference between Arsenal from seasons ago and Arsenal squad versus, say, Liverpool or City or Chelsea.
Absolutely, and I think they're ready mentally as well after what's happened of the previous 3 seasons. But we talk about the strength in depth. I mean, yes, Gabriel and Saliba are out, so Nkapie and Mosquera come in. Calafiori, don't forget, can go into the middle. So too can Timber as well, and Ben White. So it's not just squad in depth, but there's also versatility there as well. So, but as you say, this is the first time in a really big game that both of the 2 first choice centre halves are not playing. We know how good Gabriel is in the box scoring goals, but also defending. For Saliba to be out as well against Chelsea, we just said, I believe, is the second best team in the country right now, against a team that also just finds a way to score goals. This is going to be a big test for 2 players who very rarely play together.
I think it's all credit to the managers as well and the good job they're doing, because they're keeping all these players happy. When you're not in the team, I mean, when we were playing, it was completely different. You were at the team, you were hard to manage. I was anyway.
I don't believe that.
Can you
James,
believe
at all.
that?
No.
You're an angel, I'm sure.
I was an angel, yeah. But you see Martinelli, for instance, he's out the team, he's not playing, but when he comes on, he's having a positive effect on the team, and that's what you need to do. Good managers, and I think both squads, they can double up all over the pitch, and that's the difference. But managing it, that's the hard bit.
I just think from a player's point of view, the players feel they're on the verge of something special for Arsenal. They've been on the verge for a couple of years, and now actually, you look where they are in the Premier League, you look where they are in the table of the Champions League. They know they're into something special, and you can't knock on the door if the team's winning all the time, but actually you also know that Arteta will rotate, and today is a day for rotation.
Mikel Arteta has made it clear that Arsenal will need to unleash their complete player against Bayern Munich. The Gunners host the German champions at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday, and one man in particular could be decisive. Ebereki Eze, described as a very complete player by teammate Mikel Merino, is emerging as one of Arsenal's most dangerous weapons ahead of their Champions League clash with Bayern. The 27-year-old announced himself in North London with a stunning hat-trick in his first derby since arriving in a £67.5 million move from Crystal Palace. His 3 brilliant goals dismantled Tottenham, and truthfully, he could have scored even more. Merino believes every one of Arsenal's 8 summer signings has lifted the squad's level, helping the team build a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League. But Wednesday's matchup is different. Bayern Munich, the reigning Bundesliga champions, represent the toughest test yet for Arteta's side. Speaking after the win over Spurs, Merino praised Eze's qualities and hinted at the impact he could have in such a high-stakes European battle. "We've brought in a lot of players who can make a difference. But you can see that other teams have spent big as well," the Spain international said. "Individual brilliance can win matches, sure, but in the end, it's the team that matters. If you have great players who don't connect, that's a problem. The good thing about this group is that everyone thinks about the team first." When asked about Eze specifically, Merino didn't hesitate. "I think he's incredibly complete. He can dribble, he can pass, and his technical quality is outstanding. In Spain, we always talk about players who can connect with others. He has that naturally. He grew up with that instinct to link play, move the ball, and build relationships on the pitch. He also has the mindset to get involved, demand the ball, and influence the game. At the same time, he's strong, he can take players on, and he can finish. He's a truly complete signing." Merino also touched on how the modern game often reduces players to simple numbers. "These days everyone judges players by goals and assists, that's just how it is. But as footballers, we see the deeper qualities he brings, the technique, the movement, the intelligence. Even in training, you can tell immediately how special he is. Yes, he's scoring goals, but he's much more than that. He's an exceptional player, and we're incredibly lucky to have him. He can play in several positions and adapt to different systems. He's been a huge addition for Arsenal." Beyond the technical qualities, Merino believes Eze's attitude, and the healthy competition within the squad, will be crucial in Arsenal's title push. You can hear the calm in Eberecki's voice and see it in the way he carries himself. He's confident, grounded, and every morning we sit together in the sauna at the training ground and talk about everything, he added with a smile. He's a great guy, already fully integrated, and we need players like him. Competition is fierce. There's so much quality in this squad. That's exactly what the manager wanted, as many top players as possible, all ready to play. It makes his decisions tough, choosing who starts and who doesn't, but it also pushes every one of us to give our best in every session. And that's why we're improving as a team. As Arsenal prepare for Bayern's arrival, Arteta is facing one of the most delicate balancing acts of the season. The squad is healthy, competition is fierce, and expectations have never been higher. But behind the scenes, there is a growing sense that Iza's versatility and calm presence may be essential against a Bayern side known for controlling the tempo in big European nights. Arteta himself has hinted at Iza's importance without naming him directly. After the Tottenham victory, the manager spoke about the need for players who can break pressure, dictate rhythm, and stay composed when the game becomes chaotic. Those inside the club believe those comments were aimed at Iza as much as anyone. The coaching staff has been particularly impressed by how quickly he has adapted to Arsenal's positional play structure, a system that demands far more tactical discipline than what he was used to at Crystal Palace. Analysts at the club point to his growing influence not only in the final third, but also in build-up phases, where his ability to glide past pressure could help Arsenal bypass Bayern's aggressive midfield line. There is also an awareness that Bayern's fullbacks tend to push high, leaving spaces between the lines. Iza's skill set, sharp turns, deceptive acceleration, and precise final balls, could be exactly what Arteta needs to exploit those gaps. Outside the club, pundits have already started circling Wednesday's match as a defining moment for the £67.5 million signing. Some believe that if Iza can impose himself on a Champions League quarter-final against Bayern Munich, it will confirm his arrival among Europe's elite creative players. Former players have echoed that sentiment. Several ex-Arsenal figures, speaking on television over the weekend, highlighted the need for someone who can change the temperature of the match with a moment of calm or an unexpected burst of creativity. Iza, they argued, is one of the few in the squad capable of both. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich come into the match with their own confidence. Their midfield trio has been one of the most dominant in Europe this season, and they have shown a repeated ability to suffocate opponents early. That dynamic is precisely why Arteta may lean on Iza's composure. When the game tightens, Arsenal will need a player capable of slowing it down, protecting the ball, and finding solutions in tight spaces. Within Arsenal's dressing room, Merino's praise reflects a broader consensus. Senior players have reportedly been struck by Iza's humility and work ethic, qualities that have helped him integrate seamlessly into a squad that already had strong internal chemistry. Staff members describe him as someone who never forces the game, and lets the match come to him, characteristics that could prove invaluable in a high-tension Champions League tie. As kickoff approaches, the narrative surrounding the match has shifted. What began as a test of Arsenal's resilience has quietly become a spotlight on whether Iza can elevate them in Europe the same way he has in the Premier League. For Arteta, the equation is simple. If Arsenal are to overcome Bayern, they will need more than intensity. They will need control. They will need creativity. And increasingly, they will need the completeness Iza brings to every phase of the pitch. Whether he starts in a wide role as a floating midfielder, or even as an interior playmaker, the expectation is the same. Iza will have to find the spaces others cannot, and influence the game in ways that statistics alone will not capture. The stakes are high, the opponent is formidable, and the spotlight is intense. But within the walls of London Coney, the belief is growing that this is exactly the kind of stage Eberecki Iza was signed for. Martin Odergard is nearing a return to action after suffering a medial collateral ligament injury in Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham earlier in October. Yet, 3.5 years after Mikel Arteta named him captain, the Norwegian finds himself in an unfamiliar position. His place in the starting lineup is no longer guaranteed. For the first time since joining the club permanently from Real Madrid in August 2021, there is real debate over whether he remains an automatic choice for Arteta's 11. Odegaard, now 26, has been central to Arsenal's resurgence under Arteta, the conductor who shaped the team's rhythm through some of their most fluid football. But this season, the Gunners have been forced to navigate long stretches without their captain, first due to a shoulder issue that kept him out of 4 matches in September, and then because of the knee collision with West Ham's Crescencio Somerville that sidelined him again. And during his absence, something significant happened. Eberecki Iza stepped into the spotlight. Iza's sensational hat-trick in the North London Derby has complicated the picture. Now thriving in a central role, the England international has given Arsenal a different kind of presence around the edge of the box. A blend of unpredictability, directness, and two-footed confidence that opponents struggle to contain. He may not control games with the same metronomic precision as Odergard, but he offers a spark, a willingness to take risks at moments when Arsenal need a jolt of creativity. After such a standout performance against Tottenham, it feels almost impossible to imagine Arteta leaving Eze out. The manager has always had a soft spot for players riding a wave of confidence, and Eze is currently surfing at full height. There was a similar situation back in September, when Merino was handed a start against Manchester City after scoring 4 times in 2 games for Spain, including a hat-trick against Turkey. Arteta doesn't hesitate to reward form. Eze has carried that form onto the international stage as well, recently scoring a stunning goal for England in a 2-0 win over Serbia in the World Cup qualifiers at Wembley. Though he can play on the left, it has always been clear that Arteta brought him to the Emirates to operate in midfield. And with Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi near untouchable in the double pivot, the odds of Eze and Odegaard consistently starting together seem slim. That leaves Odegaard in an unfamiliar position. He needs minutes to rebuild sharpness, yet Arsenal's medical team won't rush him. The plan is likely to ease him back through short substitute appearances before restoring him to larger roles. But even once fully fit, Odegaard faces genuine competition, because Eze has shifted the landscape. His arrival has raised the team's ceiling, and his performances have earned him the right to keep his place. Before the dismantling of Tottenham, Eze had scored only twice for Arsenal, one against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup and another versus his former club Crystal Palace, a clever finish that sealed victory. Now with 5 goals across all competitions, he sits just 1 behind Odegaard's total from last season, when the captain made 45 appearances. Odegaard's 2023-24 numbers were outstanding: 11 goals, 12 assists, influence written across every competition. That is the standard he must match again if he wants to reclaim his spot, because Eze is hungry, confident, and eager to impress ahead of next summer's World Cup. Arteta will insist that Arsenal need both players at their best if they are to meet their ambitions in the months ahead. And with Kai Havertz also working his way back to full fitness, potentially slotting into midfield behind marquee striker Victor Gyökeres, the battle for places has never been fiercer at the Emirates. For Odegaard, the message is clear: he must rise to the challenge. His leadership and quality remain unquestioned, but he can no longer rely on reputation alone. If he embraces the competition and fights his way back into the side, his return could push Arsenal to even greater heights. And if the team has already reached this level without several key figures, the potential for what comes next may be even greater. Inside the club, staff members are quietly acknowledging that Arsenal are entering a new phase, one where no player, not even the captain, is immune to tactical evolution. Arteta has spent the past 2 seasons building a squad capable of sustaining pressure across multiple competitions, and the emergence of Eze is a sign that the manager's long-term planning is beginning to bear fruit. Depth is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. But with depth comes difficult decisions. Arteta has always valued balance in midfield, and the contrasting profiles of Odegaard and Eze force him to reconsider what type of midfield best suits the team's ambitions in Europe and the Premier League. The technical control and spatial awareness that Odegaard brings have defined Arsenal's identity under Arteta. Conversely, Eze's dynamism, physical presence, and unpredictable touches give Arsenal a new dimension, especially against teams that sit deep or defend aggressively in central areas. This internal shift has also caught the attention of analysts and former players. Several pundits have begun to question whether the captaincy should guarantee a place in the lineup, especially at a club with ambitions of challenging for the Champions League. Others argue that Odegaard's leadership is too valuable to sideline, pointing to the standards he sets in training and his influence over younger players. Those debates are already spilling into the media, and they will only intensify as the season progresses. There is also the tactical question of whether Arteta might eventually experiment with a system that accommodates both Eze and Odegaard, something he briefly attempted earlier in the season during the win over West Ham. But with Rice and Zubimendi forming an almost impenetrable midfield pairing, any reshuffle risks destabilizing the defensive structure that has made Arsenal one of the most resilient teams in the league. The manager has hinted that he is open to adjustments, but only if they enhance the team's overall cohesion. For Odegaard himself, the challenge is as much psychological as it is physical. He has worked hard to cultivate an image of calm authority, a leader who raises the level of those around him through clarity and consistency. Now he must show that he can adapt, compete, and respond to adversity. His teammates still speak of him with admiration, describing him as one of the most studious and detail-oriented players at London Coney. They believe that once he regains full rhythm, he will naturally reassert his influence. Yet even they acknowledge that the landscape has shifted. One senior player privately remarked that, "The team is different now, ease has changed what we can do in the final third." That sentiment reflects not a lack of faith in Odergard, but an understanding that Arsenal have evolved while he has been sidelined. For Arteta, the ideal scenario is straightforward: a fully fit Odergard competing with a fully confident ease, creating a level of internal competition that lifts the entire squad. The manager often speaks about the need for healthy tension among his players, pressure that keeps standards high without fracturing unity. The arrival of Victor Gyökeres, combined with the recovery of Havertz, only amplifies that dynamic. Arsenal's season will almost certainly hinge on these midfield decisions. With Champions League knockout matches approaching and the Premier League title race tightening, Arteta must decide not only who starts, but what kind of identity he wants his team to carry into the defining months of the campaign. The next few weeks will reveal whether Odegaard's return sparks a resurgence or a battle for relevance. If he manages to reclaim his place, it could serve as a reminder of why Arteta trusted him with the armband in the first place. If he struggles, it will underline how rapidly Arsenal are progressing, and how little room there is for sentiment at the highest level. Either way, the captain's response will shape not just his future, but the trajectory of a team that believes it is on the brink of something significant.